Okay, so I want you to just close your eyes for a second.
Here we go.
No, seriously, try to picture this setting. It is so visceral. You can almost taste the dust in the air.
Oh, absolutely.
We are right in the middle of these rustic, just completely sun-baked villages in the Oud province in northern India.
And it's the 1930s.
Right, the 1930s. And the heat there, it isn't just weather. It's like this oppressive physical weight pushing down on everyone.
Yeah, it dictates everything.
And the poverty is just grinding. It's relentless. But right in the middle of this cracked, dusty landscape, there's a dream.
And it is not a dream about finding a pile of gold or, conquering a kingdom.
Or winning the lottery? No. It is a dream that might sound, incredibly modest to us sitting here today. But in that specific context, it is monumental.
It's everything.
It is the dream of a cow.
A cow, exactly. And we really have to be clear right off the bat here. We aren't just talking about livestock.
Right, not just an animal.
We aren't talking about a milk machine. In the world we're doing a deep dive into today, the cow is a massive symbol. It's a symbol of status. It's a religious necessity for salvation, actually.
Yeah, which is huge.
And for our protagonist, it represents the absolute peak of human dignity. It is literally the difference between being a nobody and being a respected householder.
That is so true. Today, we are doing a deep dive into Godaan.
Or the gift of a cow.
Exactly. It's widely considered the magnum opus of Munshi Premchand. And if you don't know Premchand, basically think of him as the Shakespeare of Indian literature.
That's a great way to put it.
This book isn't just a story. It is the epic saga of the Indian peasant. We're looking at a tragedy that explores the crushing weight of debt, family conflict, and this brutal collision between rural village life and the emerging urban modernity of the time.
It is a heavy hitter. It captures the soul of an entire civilization that is right at a tipping point. And before we jump onto the dusty trails of Bellary village, we actually have a very special mission today.
Yes, we do.
We are providing a full narration and deep analysis of this text, specifically for the Simplified Summary YouTube channel.
Which is awesome. And hey, if you are listening to this and finding value in us breaking down these really complex literary masterpieces, because let's be honest, Godaan is a massive beast of a book.
It really is.
So please do subscribe to the Simplified Summary YouTube channel. Sharing the channel helps support more deep dives like this one, where we can really take the time to explore these cultural cornerstones without rushing through them.
It helps us out tremendously. So to really understand Godaan, you have to start by understanding the man right at the center of it all, Hori Ram.
Hori. He is basically the archetype of the Indian farmer.
Yeah.
He's poor, he's constantly teetering on the edge of total financial ruin, but he clings to his dignity with an iron grip.
He really believes in the system.
He does. He truly believes that if he just works hard, respects the social hierarchy, pays his debts, then the universe will treat him fairly.
Which is exactly what makes him such a tragic figure right from page 1.
Because the system is rigged.
It is absolutely not designed to treat him fairly, and he isn't navigating this alone. We have his wife, Dhania. And I just have to say, Dhania is easily one of the most compelling characters in all of Indian literature.
Oh, she's amazing.
She is incredibly practical. She's fierce. She has a tongue like a whip. And she has been completely hardened by a life that just hasn't given her an inch of breathing room.
They're the ultimate yin and yang. Hori tries to placate the powers that be. The landlords, the priests.
While Dhania wants to fight them, or at least scream at them.
Exactly. And they have 3 surviving children. There's their son, Gobar, who is a bit rebellious and cynical, and 2 daughters, Sona and Rupa.
So let's get right into the narrative structure. Part 1 is all about the dream of the cow.
Setting the stage.
The book opens with a scene that honestly feels like it could have happened yesterday or 1,000 years ago. Hori is tending to his oxen. He's getting ready to go pay his respects to the landlord. And right away, the tension in the house is palpable.
Because Dhania is stressed.
Dhania is terrified about food. She's worried about their mounting debt, and Hori is just distracted.
He is dreaming. He's thinking about that cow. It is this classic conflict between immediate survival and long-term aspiration.
Right.
Hori is on his way to see the landlord, Rai Sahib, which Dhania tells him is a complete waste of time. But on his way there, the plot really kicks into gear. He runs into Bhola.
And Bhola is a cowherd from a neighboring village. Now, Bhola has exactly what Hori desires, above all else.
The herd.
He has a whole herd of cows, but specifically he has this beautiful cabri, a spotted cow, Hori sees this animal and he is just utterly mesmerized.
Now, this is where we see a side of Hori that I think is really fascinating. Because he's a simple farmer, sure, but he possesses what we might call peasant shrewdness.
Oh, definitely. He's not stupid.
He sees Bhola, he sees the cow, and he knows perfectly well he has absolutely no money to buy it, 0 rupees. So what does he do? He uses the only currency he actually has.
Flattery.
Flattery and psychology.
It is a brilliant scene. Hori starts praising Bola's dedication to his animals. He's just buttering him up. But then he finds the weak spot.
The vulnerability.
Bhola is a widower. He's getting older. And in that specific society, an old man without a wife is a figure of pity. His sons don't care for him properly. He has no one to cook for him or care for his home. He is profoundly lonely.
And Hori spots this vulnerability instantly.
He goes right for the jugular, but he does it in a very subtle, nice way. He drops a hint, a highly calculated hint that he might know a woman, a potential bride.
Right. He references this fictional woman in his in-laws' village.
It is a complete fabrication.
Totally made up.
Or at the very least, a massive exaggeration. Hori knows there is no bride waiting to marry an old cowherd. But he dangles the prospect of marriage just to hook him.
And it works.
It works perfectly. Bhola is charmed by the flattery, and suddenly he has this spark of hope for companionship. He softens up entirely. The actual price of the cow is 80 rupees.
Which is a fortune.
Hori doesn't have 8 rupees, let alone 80. But because of this newfound friendship and the implicit promise of a bride, Bhola agrees to just give him the cow on credit.
Wow. And that right there feels like the first major domino falling in the story. Hori takes the cow on credit. 80 rupees of pure debt. Just like that.
It is the fatal error. And the thing is, Hori knows it's a huge risk. He even feels a sharp twinge of moral conflict about deceiving Bhola regarding the bride. He knows he's lying to the man.
But he rationalizes it, right?
Yes. He tells himself it is a necessary survival mechanism. In his mind, the incredible prestige of having a cow tied at his door totally outweighs the financial danger.
It's about dharma.
Exactly. It's about status and religious duty. If you have a cow, you are a true householder. You are a man of substance in the village.
So he brings the cow home, and for a moment, just a fleeting moment, the gloom lifts from their lives. Describe that scene for us.
It is a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. It's like a festival has suddenly started at their house. Against Dhania, who is usually the ultimate skeptic, the one who counts every single penny, she melts.
She can't help it.
When she sees the cow, she doesn't just see a massive debt. She sees milk for her undernourished children. She sees the neighbors looking at them with actual respect. She sees the possibility of a better life. For a brief, shining moment, the cow represents a total new beginning for the whole family.
But as we know, in Premchand's world, happiness is usually just the setup for the punchline of misery.
Sadly, yes.
Let's move to part 2, the web of exploitation. Because Hori didn't just buy a cow. He effectively walked blindfolded into a minefield.
We really have to zoom out here to understand the broader ecosystem that Hori lives in. His misery isn't just bad luck, it is entirely structural. And right at the top of that structure, we have Rai Sahib Amar Pal Singh,
The landlord of Samari.
the zamindar.
Rai Sahib is such a complex, frustrating character. He's not your typical mustache-twirling cartoon villain. He considers himself a nationalist. He was a satyagrahi, a freedom fighter alongside Gandhi.
He talks a great game about helping the poor.
He does. But that's the paradox Premchand wants us to sit with. Rai Sahib intellectually understands that the feudal system is wrong. He even admits in conversations with other elites that he is a parasite.
He uses that exact word.
He knows the Zambari system is deeply exploitative. But, and this is a massive but, he completely refuses to give up his lavish lifestyle.
He needs his hunting trips. He needs his extravagant parties. He needs to maintain his status among the British and the other elites.
So despite all his progressive nationalist words, he ruthlessly collects rent and arbitrary fines from starving peasants. He effectively shrugs and says, I'm a victim of the system too, all while living in absolute luxury.
It is the ultimate hypocrisy. He's basically saying, I feel your pain, but pay me my money or I'll take your land.
And right below the landlord, we have the local enforcers of this misery, the village vultures. I love that term because it fits them so perfectly.
It really does. You have Jingui Singh, who is the main moneylender.
The banker of the village.
He is notorious for having 2 wives and for extracting compound interest that would genuinely make a modern banker blush. He represents pure, unadulterated greed.
And then you have Pandit Datadin, who honestly scares me a lot more than Chinguri Singh.
He absolutely should. Dated in represents religious exploitation, which is much more insidious.
Because he uses faith as a weapon.
Exactly. He is a high caste Brahmin, so he demands ultimate respect and free labor from the lower castes based purely on his birth. But he also lends money.
Which is a deadly combination.
So if you don't pay Datadin back, you aren't just a bad debtor, you are a bad Hindu. You are actively sinning against a holy man. He leverages the fear of the afterlife to collect cold, hard cash in this life.
And rounding out the trio, there's Padishwari, the local revenue clerk.
The village bureaucrat. He is the Patwari. He manipulates the official land records to keep the peasants confused and indebted. Between these three figures, the capitalist, the priest, and the bureaucrat Hori is completely trapped.
Let's break down that trap for a listener, though. How does it actually function day to day? Why can't a farmer like Hori just pay one of them off and be done with it?
It is a totally inescapable vicious cycle. Hori has to pay his official land revenue to Rai Sahib. If he doesn't pay the landlord, he gets evicted from his ancestral land.
Right, he loses everything.
So to get the cash to pay the revenue, he is forced to borrow from Chinguri Singh at exorbitant interest. But then, a few months later, he needs to buy seeds for the next crop, or maybe he gets hit with a random village fine.
So he goes to Datadin.
Exactly. He borrows from Datadin to pay Chinguri Singh's interest. He is constantly using one predatory debt to service another.
And the worst part is Hori's own mindset.
The peasant logic. It is deeply, deeply ingrained in Hori's very soul. His core belief is, it is our dharma to pay our debts.
He truly believes it is his sacred religious duty to pay these men, even if it starves his own children.
He doesn't see it as an unfair business transaction. He sees it as a moral and spiritual obligation.
Which makes him the absolutely perfect victim for these vultures. He is essentially policing himself.
He is.
Okay, let's move into part 3. Family feuds and the poisoning. Because as if the landlord and the moneylenders weren't enough, the danger isn't just coming from the outside. It is inside his own house.
Yes. Hori has 2 younger brothers, Hira and Soba. Now, Hori, being the eldest brother, tried desperately to keep the joint family together.
Which is the big cultural ideal.
It is the ideal in Indian society to live together and share everything, but the sheer economic pressure on their small patch of land was just too much, and the brothers eventually separated their households.
Leaving behind a lot of bad blood.
Immense bitterness and intense jealousy.
Especially from Hira.
Right. When Hori brings home that beautiful, majestic cow, Hira, the younger brother, just cannot stomach it. It is a massive visual reminder of Hori's supposed success, however illusory that success actually is. Hira feels small and inadequate.
So Hira does something truly unthinkable.
He sneaks into Hori's compound in the dead of night and poisons the cow.
It's just heartbreaking. The cow dies in agony. The dream is dead. It barely lasted a few days.
Yeah.
And this is where the police get involved, right? Or, I mean, they would have gotten involved in a normal situation.
Well, Dhania is absolutely furious. She isn't naive. She knows exactly who did it. She knows Hira did it. She wants to scream it from the rooftops. She wants the police to come, search Hira's house, find the leftover poison, and drag him away to jail.
She wants justice for her family.
She wants revenge and justice. But Hori physically stops her from reporting it.
Why? I mean, his brother literally killed his greatest dream. Why on earth would he protect him?
It comes down to this deeply held concept of maryada, honor, prestige. Hori believes that if the police come to the village and search his own brother's house, it brings a permanent stain of shame upon their entire family lineage.
It makes it public.
It exposes their internal family rot to the whole village and to the corrupt authorities. The police in these villages were notoriously corrupt and would just use the opportunity to extort everyone involved. Hori decides he would rather suffer the horrific loss of the cow and bear the crushing debt than let the village see his brother in handcuffs.
He just suffers in silence.
He swallows the poison himself, metaphorically speaking.
That is frustratingly noble of him. He prioritizes the abstract family name over his own actual survival.
It is deeply tragic. And look at the immediate result. Hira, realizing the magnitude of what he's done, and perhaps terrified of Hori's stoic silence or the lingering threat of police involvement, simply flees the village.
He just runs away.
He abandons his wife and children. So now, let's look at Hori's ledger. He has no cow. He has an 80 rupee debt to Bhola for a dead animal. And he has a runaway brother whose family he might eventually have to financially support because of familial duty.
He is literally back to square one, but somehow 10 times deeper in the hole.
Talk about a downward spiral.
But wait, it actually gets more complicated. Let's move to part 4. Rebellion and scandal.
Yeah.
Enter the next generation. Gobar.
Gobar is Hori's teenage son, and he serves as a really brilliant foil to his father. He's young, he's hot-blooded, and he completely lacks that reverence for the old traditional ways.
He sees the hypocrisy.
He does. And amidst all this tension, he starts seeing Junia.
Junia is Bhola's daughter, the daughter of the man Hori owes the 80 rupees to. I mean, this is turning into a soap opera.
It has all the elements of one. A secret romance develops between them. But in the incredibly conservative social structure of the village, this isn't just a cute teenage fling. This is highly illicit.
Because Junia is a widow.
Exactly. And in 1930s rural India, a widow is expected to live a life of total asceticism and mourning. She is not supposed to have romantic entanglements. And then the ultimate bomb drops. Junia becomes pregnant.
Oh boy, that is not something you can hide.
It is a total social catastrophe. An unmarried pregnancy, especially involving a widow from a slightly different caste background, is a massive transgression. It shatters the moral order of the village. Gobar, finally realizing the sheer magnitude of the consequences headed his way, completely panics.
He shows his true colors here.
He shows a moment of profound, selfish cowardice. He runs away to the city, to Lucknow in the dead of night, leaving a pregnant Junia behind to face the music entirely alone.
That is just not a good look for Gobar at all. So Junia, desperate and with nowhere else to go, shows up at Hori's doorstep, basically saying, I'm pregnant with your son's child, and he's abandoned me.
Try to imagine the impossible position Hori and Dhania are put in. They are already starving, already drowning in debt from the dead cow, and now this ultimate shame arrives at their door.
Dhania must have exploded.
She is furious initially. She screams at Junia, she curses her son, but, and this is the true beauty of Dhania's character, when push comes to shove, her humanity wins out over social rules. She absolutely refuses to turn a pregnant, defenseless woman out into the unforgiving streets. She shows immense moral strength and courage, despite her incredibly sharp tongue. She takes the girl in.
I just love Dhania.
Yeah.
She grumbles and complains the whole time, but she has a heart of absolute gold.
She is the moral center of the book.
But the village elders are not so forgiving, are they?
Not even slightly. The village vultures circle immediately. Datadin, Chinguri Singh, and the rest of the elites convene the Panchayat, the village council. Now, we have to look closely at their motivation here.
This is not about morality.
It has nothing to do with morality. They are interested in profit and maintaining power. They formally declare that Hori has polluted the entire village by harboring an out-of-wedlock pregnant woman.
So they punish him.
They impose a severe financial fine.
Wait, they fine him for being a good person? For sheltering the mother of his own grandchild when no one else would?
Essentially, yes. They fine him 100 rupees. And remember, Hori has absolutely zero cash. He couldn't afford 8 rupees for a cow. The threat they hang over his head is Hukapani banned.
Total social boycott.
Social death. No one in the village will talk to him. No one will share water with his family. No one will invite them to weddings or funerals. He will be an outcast on his own land.
So to pay this massive 100 rupee fine, what does Hori have to do?
This is the cruelest irony in the entire novel. To pay the fine to the Panchayat, which is led by Chinguri Singh, and Datadin Hori has to borrow the money directly from Chinguri Singh and Datadin.
That is just incredible. They fine him 100 rupees, then immediately lend him the 100 rupees to pay themselves, and then they charge him compound interest on that loan.
It is a perfectly closed loop of exploitation. He is forced to mortgage his house and his standing crops just to pay the fine. The economic blow is absolutely devastating.
He is literally paying for his own humanity with his family's livelihood.
He is now effectively working as a bonded laborer for the moneylenders on his own ancestral land.
It's infuriating to even think about. Now, while all this intense misery is unfolding in the dirt of the village, Premchand suddenly shifts the narrative. Part 5. The urban parallel. We go to the city of Lucknow.
Premchand uses this shift to create a really stark, uncomfortable contrast for the reader. In the city, we meet the educated elite.
A totally different world.
We meet Mr. Khanna, who is this wealthy industrialist and banker. He owns the local sugar mill. We meet Miss Malti, who is a very modern, England-educated doctor, often described in the text as a butterfly of high society. And we meet Professor Mehta, a university philosopher.
These characters seem like they're operating on a completely different planet compared to Hori and Dhania.
They really are. Their concerns are entirely abstract. We get these long, drawn-out philosophical debates in drawing rooms between Mehta and Malti.
About society and gender.
Right. Mehta argues constantly about the ideal role of women. He highly idealizes the traditional Indian woman. He claims that a woman's true power lies in her capacity for sacrifice and selfless service, not in demanding voting rights or trying to mimic men in the workplace.
And Multi pushes back, right? She represents the modern independent woman. She wants equal rights. She wants independence.
Correct. But here is the brilliant, biting irony that Premchand is setting up for us.
The disconnect.
Exactly. While these wealthy, comfortable elites in Lucknow are debating sacrifice as this beautiful, abstract, philosophical concept while sipping tea and eating biscuits, back in the village, Dhania and Junia are actively living that sacrifice as a brutal, life-destroying reality.
Wow.
They're sacrificing their daily food, their personal dignity, their physical safety, just to survive another day. The city debates the beauty of suffering. The village actually endures it.
That is such a powerful thematic connection. The intellectuals romanticize the exact same suffering that the peasants are dying from. And then Gobar, the runaway son, walks right into this urban world.
Yes. Gobar arrives in Lucknow completely scared and totally naive. But he manages to find work. He starts working as a daily wage laborer and then eventually finds a niche for himself.
Yeah, and the city changes him.
Drastically. He starts seeing right through the hypocrisy of the upper classes. He sees that the rich are just as immoral and flawed as anyone back in the village. They just have the money to hide it behind the closed doors.
He works at Khanna's mill, doesn't he?
He does, and he watches the labor strikes at the sugar mill. He sees the raw mechanics of capitalism and power play out.
So he hardens up. He loses that village innocence.
He becomes very street smart. He starts earning actual cash money. He adopts a much more cynical, urban outlook on life. He realizes very quickly that dharma and respect don't pay the rent, cash does. He completely sheds the submissiveness of the village peasant.
Which perfectly sets up part 6, the return of the son. Gobar decides to come back to the village. And he's got a lot of swagger now.
He returns about a year later, and visually, the contrast is striking. He is dressed like a gentleman, he has clean clothes, he's wearing shoes.
And he has cash in his pocket.
He has money. And the power dynamic in the village shifts almost instantly upon his arrival. He directly confronts the moneylenders.
Which I have to admit must have been so incredibly satisfying to read after all the abuse Hori took. Finally, someone punches back.
It is a huge release of tension. Gobar challenges Jinguri Singh and Dadin right to their faces in public. He sits down and does the math. He points out that an original loan of 30 rupees has somehow miraculously turned into 200 rupees over the years without any new borrowing.
He calls out their scam.
He calls out their predatory interest rates as straight-up theft. He flat out refuses to pay the unfair interest. He tells them, "I will gladly pay back the principal amount my father borrowed, but I will not pay this daylight robbery you call interest."
Go Gobar. That is exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah.
But how does Hori react to this? You'd think he'd be so proud to see his son stand up for the family.
You really would think so. But this is where the tragedy of the generation gap hits hard. Hori is absolutely terrified by his son's behavior.
He can't handle the disrespect.
He tells Gobar, "God has made these men great. We are small people. We must respect them." Hori simply cannot break free from his own mental chains. He truly believes that arguing with a Brahmin or a Thakur landlord is a mortal sin that will doom them all.
And Gobar just thinks his father's a fool.
Gobar thinks his father is a pathetic coward for being so completely subservient to men who are robbing him blind.
So they clash.
They clash very hard. Gobar openly mocks Hori's outdated way of life. Hori fiercely defends the old traditional ways, and eventually, the tension breaks the family apart.
Gobar decides he's had enough.
Gobar's arrogance, combined perhaps with his stark realization that he simply cannot save his father from his own deeply held beliefs, leads him to pack up. He takes his wife, Junia, and their new child, and he goes right back to the city of Lucknow.
Leaving Hori and Dhania completely alone again.
Alone, aging rapidly, and now completely without the physical and financial support of their only able-bodied son. And worst of all, Hori is left holding the bag for the remaining debts that Gobar outright refused to settle.
Which brings us to part 7, the downward spiral. And I have to warn you, this part of the book, it is really hard to get through. It is just a relentless barrage of bad news.
It is the slow, agonizing, grinding destruction of a human being. Over the next few years, Hori's physical and financial condition deteriorates rapidly.
Nature turns against him, too.
The crops fail, whether it's due to bad weather or, more often, because the crops are literally seized right out of the fields by creditors before Hori can even harvest a handful of grain for his own family. The fines and the compound interest just keep piling up higher and higher.
And strictly speaking, by this point, he isn't even really a farmer anymore, is he?
No, he's not. His beloved land is mortgaged to the hilt. He is effectively working as a hired laborer on the very land his ancestors owned.
From a proud Kisan to a Mazdor.
He has lost the respected status of a Kisan, a farmer, and become a Mazdor, a lowly daily wage laborer. It is a profound, soul-crushing humiliation for him. And right in the middle of this destitution, he has to marry off his daughter, Sona.
And in that culture, as we know, you cannot just have a small, quiet wedding.
Exactly. To save face in the community, to maintain that tiny, lingering sliver of Mariata family honor, he has to throw a respectable wedding.
Which means more debt.
He has to beg for new loans. He sinks even deeper into the quicksand. He's constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul, but in this village, Peter and Paul are exactly the same moneylender.
And physically, what is happening to him?
He is literally starving to death. He is eating maybe once a day, if that, and he is working excessively hard in the scorching, brutal Indian heat.
He takes on extra labor.
There is this heartbreaking detail where, to earn just a few extra pennies to buy coarse flour, he starts breaking stones and working on building public roads.
Oh, man.
This is a man who was once a proud, land-owning farmer, now doing the absolute lowest, most physically punishing form of manual labor just to keep his wife from starving. He looks 20 or 30 years older than he actually is. He is nothing but a hollowed-out shell of a man.
It's devastating. And it all leads inevitably to the end. Part 8. The climax, the death of Hori.
The final scene is set during the peak of the blistering northern Indian summer.
The Loo.
The Loo. This violent, hot wind that blows across the plains like a furnace blast. Hori is out working in the fields. He absolutely shouldn't be working. He is deathly ill. He's running a high fever. He is malnourished and completely broken.
But he has to pay the tax.
He needs to earn just a few more annas to pay the land revenue tax so they don't lose the physical house. He pushes himself one step too far.
He collapses.
He finally collapses in the blazing sun in the middle of the dirt field. The other laborers carry his limp body home. He is laid out on a string cot. He is on his deathbed.
And Dhania is there.
He looks up at Dhania, the woman he has fought with, struggled with, starved with, and deeply loved for a lifetime. And he looks at her and simply tells her, "I tried my best, but I lost."
That line just destroys me every time. I tried, but I lost. It's the ultimate defeat.
And then we get the final, sickening indignity. The vultures circle one last time. Pandit Dadadin arrives at the house.
The priest.
Now, you might expect a religious man to offer comfort, to offer a prayer, or maybe a few drops of holy water. But Dadadin looks down at the dying man and coldly tells Dhania that Hori's time is up.
He sees an opportunity.
And he tells her that to save Hori's soul from wandering in torment, to ensure he has a safe passage to heaven, she must immediately perform Godaan.
The gift of a cow.
She must give a cow to a Brahmin. Specifically, she must give a cow to Dadadin.
But they don't have a cow. They haven't had a cow since part 1, and that one died.
They have absolutely nothing. The house is empty. Dhania is weeping uncontrollably. But she goes to a small hiding spot in the wall and pulls out the only money she has in the entire world. 20 annas.
Just a handful of coins.
It is money she earned from blinding herself spinning yarn late into the night. It is barely enough money to buy them a few days' worth of meals.
She brings it out to the priest.
She walks over and places the cold coins into Dadadin's outstretched hand. And she delivers what is arguably one of the most famous, devastating lines in all of Indian literature.
What did she say?
She cries out, "Maharaj, there is no cow in the house, nor any calf. This money is the only Godaan."
And then Hori dies.
Hori passes away right then and there.
Wow. It is. It's just incredibly heavy. The irony of the whole story is just crushing. The entire book is called The Gift of a Cow. But the cow is the exact thing that destroys his life.
That is the tragic core of the novel. Hori spent his entire adult life dreaming of owning a cow. He was completely destroyed by the financial debt of a cow that he only possessed for a few days.
And in death.
In death, his family's absolutely meager savings, Dhania's literal life's blood, are taken away by the priest as a pathetic substitute for the cow he never truly managed to possess. It is a flawless, inescapable cycle of total dispossession.
So as we wrap this up, let's unpack the big takeaway here.
Yeah.
The so what? What is Premchand ultimately trying to tell the reader?
Premchand's overarching message is that the exploitation of the Indian peasantry is total and absolute. It is not just an economic issue, it is a deeply social and religious one.
A three-pronged attack.
Exactly. The landlord extracts the rent, the moneylender extracts the interest, and the priest extracts the dignity and the soul. They all work in perfect concert to keep the peasant down.
And the peasant helps them do it.
That's the tragic part. The peasant, bound by his own deep belief in dharma, fate, and the strict caste hierarchy, actively participates in his own destruction. Hori is a hero in the literary sense, not because he wins a great battle, but because he endures so much suffering.
But Premchand is saying endurance isn't a solution.
Exactly. Premchand is practically screaming at the reader that this noble endurance is not enough, that the system itself is fundamentally irrevocably rotten and needs to be torn down.
It is a profound tragedy, but it's such an important one to read and understand. It really forces you to look at the invisible strings that control how a society functions, the way debt operates as a tool of control, the way social expectations and honor can trap people in misery.
Absolutely. And that is exactly why we do these deep dives into classic literature, to uncover those invisible strings and see how they work.
Before we close out today, I just want to remind you one more time, this was a full narration and analysis of Godaan based on the incredible, timeless work of Munshi Premchand. If you want to support this kind of deep analytical content, please go subscribe to the Simplified Summary YouTube channel.
Yes, definitely do that.
Share this specific deep dive with your friends. Help us help others understand these massive literary masterpieces.
Your support for Simplified Summary really does make a huge difference in allowing us to keep making these. So go subscribe right now.
And I have one final thought to leave you with today. We spent a lot of time talking about Godaan and Jinguri Singh, the classic village exploiters of the 1930s.
They are very specific to that era.
Right. But here is the question I want you to really mull over as you go about your day today. In today's modern world, a world of crushing student loans, high-interest credit card debt, and gig economy pressures, have the Godaans and Jinguris actually disappeared?
That's a great question.
Or have they just changed their names, moved to the city, and put on nice tailored suits?
I think we both know the answer to that.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time.